man. Let me plug the joint. Disarm her with your charm and wit. Again, disarm her with your charm and wit. Become the bitch whisperer. Now, obviously, this is a play on the dog whisperer. I think many of you know who that is, right? I think his first name is Caesar or something like that. I don't know what his last name is, but the bitch whisperer. Let me plug the joint. Disarm her with your charm and wit. You know, for any woman that might be in attendance, there's no malice intended. So if you feel offended, this too shall pass. You'll get over it. Back to the joint. Let me plug it one more again. Disarm her with your charm and wit. Gentlemen, you want to leave an indelible impression on a woman's psyche. You want to stroke her cerebral cortex with your verbal game. Disarm her with your charm and wit. Become the bitch whisperer, right? Here's the thing. I hear a lot of men complain, not only on YouTube, but also on Facebook. They're always complaining about the modern day woman. The modern day woman isn't feminine enough. The modern day woman isn't submissive enough. The modern day woman has an attitude. And a lot of guys don't really know women. Now, as far as understanding women, you don't even want to try to understand women, right? You'll break your brain, right? Women are not to be understood. They're just women. It is what it is, right? They do goofy shit. But as far as knowing women, right? Knowing women. Knowing what to say in any given moment. It don't matter what's being presented to you. It don't matter what the woman is saying to you, how off the wall it may be. You just know how to handle yourself in any given moment. Right? A lot of guys, they don't know how to do that. They get caught up. But back to my point. Again, you have a lot of guys that are always complaining about the modern day woman not being submissive and feminine enough. Well, I would make the argument that the modern day man isn't as assertive or masculine as men used to be. So when guys are endeavoring for women to show them deference, now deference means humble submission and respect. When guys are endeavoring for women to show them deference, why should they submit and respect you? Why should they submit to you and respect you? What about you? What about you is worthy of a woman showing you deference? What about you? Well, because you're a man? Hold on, because you was born with a dick and a set of balls, and you happen to be an adult at this juncture, you know what I'm saying, that you think women should automatically just show you deference out the gate? Why? Why? When people show you deference, it is based on how they view you, right? It's based on an observation of how you conduct yourself, your presentation, your disposition, your demeanor, your behaviors. If a woman is going to show you deference, it's going to be based on those things. So what about you? What about you? Are you a masculine man? Are you assertive? Are you transparent with women? Are you direct with women? Are you being your authentic self? Are you? Do you display a high degree of confidence when interacting with women? Are you that type of guy? Because all that shit I just named, those are the type of guy that women are most likely to show deference to. I'm just saying. Here's the thing, right? I want guys to think about this. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Femininity and masculinity are two sides of the same coin. but yet they're opposite, right? Two sides of the same coin, but yet they're opposite. Again, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Femininity yields to masculinity. If you are not a masculine man, you're going to find it difficult for women to respect you. Period. I assure you, you will. I guarantee you, you're going to have difficulties getting women to respect you if you are not a masculine man. Women can tell the difference. I'm going to hit you with this analogy or this parallel so I can further illustrate my point. Have you ever been introduced to a guy and you knew immediately upon being introduced to him, you shake, his hand and whatnot, and maybe you exchange words, albeit briefly, but you can tell by the way he carries it that he commands respect. He's not the type of guy that comes off like a clown, right? It's just something about him, right? Conversely, have you ever met a guy or been introduced to a guy and you knew instantly that motherfucker is a clown? This dude is a sucker. This dude is a motherfucking chump. You just knew that immediately, right? Women look at men the same way. They can tell the difference between the two guys. They can tell. They can tell based on your disposition, your presentation, and then once you start talking, that tells them everything they need to know, even if they're making a snap judgment. Because sometimes people can make a snap judgment and they can get it wrong, but what do they say? You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Most of the time. There are outliers, there are exceptions to that. But it's a whole other story. Let me plug the joint. Disarm her with your charm and wit. One thing that I know how to do, and any guy that knows women and knows how to deal with women effectively, we know how to appeal to a woman's feminine sensibilities. So what's feminine sensibilities, right? Through her sensibility, we can recognize her psychology or longing. Again, let me say that shit again. Through her sensibility, we can recognize her psychology or longing. In other words, we know exactly how to get at her. We know exactly what to say in any given moment to get the desired results we're looking for. Now, you're not going to bat 100 for 100. You're going to strike out. There's going to be some rejection there. There's going to be some hesitation, some reluctance, some resistance. Disarm her with your charm and wit. Let me tell this story right quick. And I told this story before. Sometime back, right, I used to get this little resistance from females, right? So it'd be young ladies, and this happened multiple times. It'd be young ladies that I would meet at bars, clubs, or what have you. And I would be trying to take them home for the night, right? And what would happen would be they would tell me something along the lines of, I really want to leave with you. I really want to go home with you. But I don't want you to think I'm a hoe, right? They was giving me resistance. Now, I knew they wanted to have sex. But they had this fear of being judged if they did it, right? And all they wanted was some reassurances that there was no judgment. So what did I have to do? In that moment, I had to disarm her fears. And I had to use my charm and wit to reassure her I'm not a judgmental type of guy, and that she was perfectly okay to engage in casual sex with me. Disarm her with your charm and wit. So when they would say, I don't want you to look at me as a hoe, I would say, well, wait a minute. I said, how can I judge you for something that we're both participating in? How can I judge you? I said, if you left with me right now and we had sex, we're both equal participants. So how can I judge you for that? I would have to judge myself. And as far as you being a hoe, well, how can I look at you as a hoe for something that I'm also engaging in. So if I look at you as a hoe, that means I got to look at myself as a hoe. Let's be hoes together. And inevitably they would giggle and laugh, and we would leave and have sex. Simple as that. Disarm her with your charm and wit. Become the bitch whisperer. I'm not going to stay long, gentlemen. I just want guys to understand that you're going to run into women who sometimes might be extremely pleasant, extremely compliant. The fact of the matter is, the more attracted a woman is to you, the more compliant, the more pleasant she's going to be. But if you deal with enough women, you're going to have women who you come into contact with that are hesitant, resistant, and even reluctant because they have a distrust of men. And the reason why they have a distrust of men, because there's a lot of bitch-ass dudes out there who are clowns, who lie to women, manipulate women. So they don't know if you're like one of those guys or not until you start having a conversation with them. And then you begin to chip away at that tough exterior they put up. It's like, man, look, you ain't gotta do all that with me. You ain't gotta do all that with me. I'm not one of those guys. Let me plug the joint. Disarm her with your charm and wit. Become the bitch whisperer. I'm out.